Hello, my name is Dominic Underhallhouse and welcome to another episode of Moonbreaker. For today, it's the weekend. I want to do something a little bit fun, a little bit just sort of out of the ordinary, and just see if we can enjoy ourselves with something that I haven't tried yet since the new influx of players has come to the game. And that is, we're going to try Gardener Joe, and we're going to try a turtle deck, a fortress style. We're going to build up and hide behind a bunch of things. So, the way these styles of lists work, it's going to be slightly difficult depending on which map we end up on, because you usually want to pick one spot and defend it fiercely. So if there's two objectives, that works out kind of well. If there's three, it can be a little bit iffy, and if there's one in the middle, you're probably going to have a bad time, but it's entirely possible just to send one or two units up there and defend elsewhere. So what we've got is, early on we've got Deadeye and Maximus. They are purely there to just hold our own in the early game. We can't afford to just let things take us over completely. We've got Savria Safeguard, we've got Beatrice, and more defensive drops to try and keep us alive, keep things going. Torian, again, helps block attacks coming in, or rather, lowers the accuracy of things heading our way. We've got Aegis Defense Dome, so it's a really big, powerful defensive unit. Neck Divine to heal us a bit more. Florio is an impactful end game. Furia, but without Fate Twister Tantan. So I'm trying to decide if that's what I want to do. I'm still umming and ahhing about whether to put Fate Twister Tantan in, because what Tantan can do is either make Furia guaranteed to hit one attack, or make an enemy guaranteed to miss. So the enemy guaranteed to miss works really well in this style of list. It's something I want to consider for maybe a future version. And then we've got Stitchy for a few more heals. So if I was to cut to put Fate Twister Tantan in, it would probably be instead of Maximus. In fact, you know what? Let's just go all out. We play Maximus and everything. Let's not have that risk. That choice. Let's go all in on this. We're going to just have a bit of fun. So we're going to take this into a game and see what we can do. Our game plan is going to be to turtle up, hide behind everything, and win through overwhelming value over time. But if our opponent's really aggressive, we might struggle a bit. If you're enjoying this content, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join us over on Patreon in the link down below in the description. Anything you can do to support the channel is fantastic. I'm going to turn into one of the stereotypical YouTubers for a moment. At the statistics, 2/3 of the people, 67% of people watching aren't subscribed to the channel. If everyone who was watching did subscribe, we'd be 3/4 of the way to my big goal of hitting that 1,000 and looking at being able to really put time and effort into the YouTube thing from there. More than I do already, which is already quite a bit. So if that's an option, please do go ahead and support. But for now, I'll see you once we're back in the game. Okay, we have found ourselves an opponent. We're against Rackman46. So, welcome Rackman, another level 5 player, so welcome to the game. It's really great to have you here. And we're going to see if we can take these plants and do something useful with them. So, for those who don't know, what Gardener Joe does is puts plants down. And those plants basically, you give everything a buff in a circle around you for one additional maximum health. And it lasts until you're hit. So you can potentially have it, say, for 10 extra max health, but the moment you take 1 damage, you lose all of that health from there. This board state is interesting, because I actually think it's not too bad for us. So, maybe we do actually just start setting up a Thornvine over here, and trying to see what we can do. So Deadeye is obviously our first choice, it's our ranged value unit. And so as you can see, the Nourish goes to here, it increases the health by 1. If at the start of our next turn this still has the health buff, it turns into a greater Thornvine, which then will either shoot something, or if there's nothing in range, will move and attack. So move instead of attacking. So there's a real sort of opportunity to set up some defensive spots here, and we're just going to see what our opponent does as well. So this is going to be the location we're going to go for, but what I'm going to try and do is move around to sort of over here somewhere, so we can be between these two objectives rather than just all in one. So their choice of sort of location there is fine by me. It doesn't really mean much to us at this point. So we're just going to move Joe over this way. And to be completely honest, because of the sort of style of things that we're going for, and we ought to go really defensive, I'm just going to plant a second Thornvine immediately. And maybe just see if we can hide back here with Deadeye. Go for a bit of a defensive position. We're not going to get anything offensive out there. And given that they're that far away, maybe this is worth saving up, because we could just drop a Furia next turn and start ticking up. Maybe we should have actually left Deadeye in this space, actually, that would probably have been better. We may as well use our Cinder, so we'll release those on ourselves. There's nothing really to shoot, so we'll pass the turn here. I sort of save our Cinder, save our leadership. It's not often that I choose to do things like this, but I actually think saving the leadership could be the right choice. We are far enough away, they're playing defensively, we've got a really good late game series of units. Okay, so if this is their choice, they should be able to get an angle onto Deadeye here, but we'll probably be able to shoot them back and then move back ourselves. And our vines are going to start moving up, doing a bit of work, and we can hold these objectives from a distance. Yeah, so this was probably a mistake. That positioning's pretty bad. We could have just had 1 extra health instead. And depending on where they position their next unit, in fact, they can't actually attack here, so we might be able to move up with... What I'm hoping is, I don't think we're going to be able to move up far enough with Zhou to keep Deadeye in range and on that objective. Okay, with that Beatrice deployment is definitely a worry, because that's very far away for a unit that's incredibly slow. So that means that we really only need to focus on this part of the battlefield, and Beatrice isn't going to be an issue for a very long time. What would be good is if they move more aggressively and put Beatrice down over here, our Thornvines are only ever going to attack Beatrice, and that's not going to do good for anyone. Thornvines don't do anything to her whatsoever. Okay, so we can't get line of sight onto Maximus. We can get a good one over there if we need to. But is that safe? To be honest, we could just put down Torian and then our own unit. Let's keep moving Zhou around. We don't want to touch our vines, because vines hurt you. Vines are actually very bad into Zax, by the way, for anyone who is unfamiliar with how this works. Very, very bad into Zax. But because of the positioning here, I'm going to move over and take this shot onto their Zax, just to contest this objective slightly. And what we want to do is deploy... I think we do want to deploy Furia. We'll deploy her back here, so we can hold this objective a little bit more. And we're going to fertilise the soil for Deadeye, so Deadeye can run a bit if we need to next turn. They can't kill it, but Deadeye may need to run. Looking at the fact we've got 4 leadership coming in next turn, it's quite likely that what we're going to want to do is basically run Deadeye back here, move Zhou over to heal, potentially take a shot on Maximus if we can. They've got a good shot back onto us if they need it. And then maybe play Defense Dome. So Dome puts it so that if we can get hidden away from Zax, we're in a great spot, because Zax can only deal 1 damage through a Dome. Okay, that might be an issue, because they may have just reduced their own accuracy there. And Furia is ticking up, so the countdown's begun, basically. This is a big shot. Oh, they blocked their line of sight. Yeah, so this is the one that they can hit, so that's where I'd go for. Yeah, there we go. So this one isn't going to transform, but the others will. And this actually puts us in a great spot now, because now we can't lose straight to the Deadeye zone. So they were hovering over something at the back there, which could have been an ambush unit, but it looks like they're going for a regular unit instead. It's Stitchy. Okay. So this is the point where the dome really starts to make sense, because if we can get the dome in place, we can just start nuking, or not so nuking, sorry, you can just defend things to a point that's going to be really hard for them to deal with. So how far can we move Zhou? Far, but not far enough. So if we move up here, so we're going to want to move here anyway. We're going to stay out of contact with our plants. What we want to do is see if we can get a good range in here to just chip away at this. Can we in fact? In fact, I actually think maybe we stay here, because we can't take enough damage from things anyway. So if we just move as far up as we can to make the mine harder to hit us, and just sort of put it over here. And we just take this shot because we're here, we might as well. Then we deploy our defense dome down. I mean, this can go in range of about there. And we still want to keep Furia in range of the defense. We can fertilize soil on 2 of these. And, I mean, we may as well Ozos ourselves again. And we're ticking up, getting ready for that big finish at some point in time. So, here we go. This is looking to be a really difficult spot for our opponent to chip through. As it stands, they've only actually got 1 damage that can work its way through these shields. They can pull us out, they can use Grav Disc and things like that. So like this is interesting, it'll take some of our plants out. And they probably just kill each other actually, given that they do 2 damage to each other and then explode. Oh, but that was just touching. I mean, that doesn't look like it's touching to me, but apparently that's inside the animation for Shield Dome. So that will only take 1 damage here if we get hit anyway. As will that. Okay. So this is where the game starts to feel like it's coming into our control. They can hit the dome, and that's fine, but the dome isn't going to take much anyway because we're defending it with our Zhou, so Zhou's going to heal it up a turn. They can heal this. This is all fine. Everything is going to plan. Interesting that we're almost equal on points as well.
Look at these marks.
Ooh, Noxie. Noxie's a really interesting one because I don't know what the best option is to try and deal with it. Because obviously we don't have Maximus in this list. Dealing 2 damage at a time means we have to hit it 4 times. So it might just be that we want to just push a bit of damage through and then leave it. What's our 5 costs? Torian could be nice. I mean, Torian and Tantan seems reasonable. And then, but we get 6 next turn. So actually, maybe Torian and Stitchy is what we want here. So if we just take that poke, we'll pop Torian down here. Okay, so we do need to move Zhou slightly. So we'll move Furia forward. Move Zhou forward as well. There we go. Oh no, I didn't realise I was touching. Oops. And then Torian can just come down over here to protect our Deadeye. I mean, it could be Fate Twister, but I think I'm going to save it and just go for Florio. So let's just fertilise soil again, hit a bunch of things for more movement. Again, we may as well just Ozos ourselves. This is all in a good spot. We don't need to shoot anything yet. We're going to pass this and just try and get our... because we don't want to shoot Furia yet anyway. So what we want to do is wait until we've got access to our Florio to chip things down, and eventually start playing the Fate Twister Tantan and try and go for the big one-shot towards the end there. So how our opponent chews through this is going to be interesting. They might be able to get Deadeye out of the circle, but it looks like maybe it will get blocked by other things. But taking Deadeye out would be nice. Okay, so Deadeye's still in there, but we'll only take 1 damage from this regardless. I mean, that's a choice. We'll take 1. So now Deadeye needs to go back. We could... oh, we were going to play Stitchy. That's what we were supposed to do. We were supposed to play Stitchy last turn. I literally said that as well. So we're now going to lose Deadeye at some point. I think pretty much unnecessarily. Yeah, so this is fine. It won't do anything. I mean, I miss at 94% anyway. But now Max doesn't move. So if we just set something off into this mine, Maximus takes 3 damage. So there we go. Get some heals in. Another mine. Yeah, this is all fine. Oh, is this going to be a hit and run? That looked like a hit and run if I've ever seen one, just hiding out at the back there. If this is hit and run, we'll just take the one shot with Furia and we'll start ticking up again. There's no sense in trying to take any unnecessary risks. Yeah, so this is going well. So if Deadeye goes here, I think the plants are actually going to deal with the mine, maybe? It's the fact we can't control these is interesting. So I think we shoot that and then just put the dome over here and put Deadeye back over here. Try and stay a little bit safe. Again, we've got not really much use for a lot of these things, so we're going to pop these down here. We can play Florio as a back holder, so Furia can come and sort of get a little bit more involved in the game if we need her to. And we've got 5 out of 6 units. I don't think we even want to play anything else out, because if we play anything else out, we can't play Fate Twister Tantan, and that takes away our one-shot ability here. So there we go. That hits there, blows it up. Perfect. So this is funny because we're actually taking damage from ourselves, but I wasn't 100% sure whether the mines actually attacked the the plants attacked the mines or not, but there we go. There we are. Our opponent conceded. This was a really good game to show sort of... we basically built up a situation where it was really hard for them to overcome, and I don't really know how you find yourself in that situation sort of with a strong opportunity to deal with it. It is obviously a newer player, so Rackman, I think you did very, very well deciding on that. Using the grav disc was something you could have made a little bit better use out of, because that way you can pull things out of the dome, pull dome out of range of other things, and start trying to separate the units, pick them up one by one. But with a Florio and a Furia just sort of coming down, it is going to be a very difficult thing to try and claw back from there. So our opponents did a good job. I'm really happy with it. I'm happy with how ours worked as well. Funnily enough, I actually made this roster without looking at the banner, and it very much is Gardener Zhou and the plant-based banner, which makes me quite happy. So there we are. That's the list. That's how it played. This was our opponent's list, if that's something you wanted to see as well. if you've enjoyed this video, so this is going to be a slightly shorter one, just to let you know, because this is being recorded for the weekend. I'm going to try and make slightly easier, lighter content for the weekend, playing fun lists, unit spotlights, just things that are just a little bit easier for me to create, and a little bit lighter for you guys to watch as and when you're free, because I'm sure you've all got busy weekends as well. If you've enjoyed this, please do like, comment, subscribe, join us over on the Patreon in the description down below. Like I said earlier, 2/3 of you haven't subscribed at the moment, so that would be a huge difference to me if that made it up to like 40% of people have subscribed instead of 33. It really does, improve my chances, improve my motivation, help this channel keep going, and we can work towards that 1,000 subscriber mark. Again, thank you so much for watching, but most importantly, have a good day.